Welcome back to the Anything Flies podcast. Got a special guest, Josh. He's from Awkward Sports Media.
Hey guys, thrilled to be on Anything Flies, the Anything Flies squad. Yeah, go check out Awkward Sports Media. We do a podcast we try to do one every week, but we just love talking sports, and it's great to be with all of you guys today.
Thanks for joining us. We'll have a picture of his channel on the video, so make sure you guys go subscribe and watch his video. He's got some great content. So we'll get into it. Super Bowl Sunday was this past Sunday. Great matchup, Chiefs versus 49ers. So yeah, let's just hear it. Who wants to start it off?
I can kick it off. It was a pretty tight game. It was pretty sloppy through the first three quarters, I'd say. But I think it was more of a Niners loss than a Chiefs win, because I mean the Niners pretty much controlled the ball game pretty much deep into I'd say 10 minutes with left in the fourth quarter, and they just gave the game away. Partially because they stopped running the ball. But I think the biggest thing was the Chiefs just gained momentum from the muff punt, because the Chiefs weren't really doing anything until the muff punt. And then after that, I think the Chiefs just really took off from there. So,
Josh, you want to go?
Sure. I mean, obviously, the Super Bowl is one of my favorite events in sports and all of sports. And to me, out of the 17 Super Bowls that I've watched in my lifetime, that one made the top five for me. Because yes, it was sloppy through three quarters, but it was close. And that's what I ask for when I watch the Super Bowl. I want it to be anybody's game down to the last possession. And it was. And going into the game, I had the Chiefs beating the Niners 27-23. So it was pretty on par. We had obviously a couple turnovers. Like you guys said, it was a little bit of a sloppy game. But one thing I wanted to harp on was just the aura that is surrounding a guy like Patrick Mahomes. Like just the legacy at stake that every single time he takes the field, guys, I feel like he has entered this stratosphere of athletes in all sports where you just can't count him out. He is somebody that you can be down a score, down by 10. That's kind of the running joke. They were down by 10 in the Super Bowl last year against Philly when Kansas City played the 49ers in their first Super Bowl appearance for Super Bowl 54. They were down in that game as well. Mahomes can come from behind. We've seen it. But it's just one of those games where you just never can count out a guy like Patrick Mahomes. Like you couldn't count out Tom Brady. Like you couldn't count out Michael Jordan with the Chicago Bulls in the NBA Finals. Like you couldn't count out Tiger Woods in the 2019 Masters. He was trailing Francesco Molinari, and all throughout that entire final round, it just kind of felt like to me that he was going to overcome any sort of deficit. And that's the stratosphere that Mahomes has now entered. And Andy Reid, I couldn't be happier for a coach like him having to wait all those years to get his first. And now he's a dynasty head coach. And I mean, to me, we talk about how Mahomes has entered the GOAT discussion, greatest of all time, with guys like Brady and Montana and Peyton Manning and things of that nature. But I think Andy Reid as well has done the same thing with Bill Belichick. I think he's breathing down his neck. He's got 3 rings, and he's also rapidly catching up on the all-time wins list, currently sitting at fourth. But guys, no, I really think that like what Kansas City did, you can never count them out. Even though they were behind, I never felt at all worried about Kansas City in that game. I thought they were going to eventually pull through.
Yeah, I completely agree. Think Patrick Mahomes is definitely up there in the debate conversation for the GOAT. He's definitely made a dynasty in KC, and he's definitely a guy that never lost until the clock hits triple zeros. Um, I agree with all of the things you said. I just want to bring up like the overtime controversy, honestly. Um, I believe that the 49ers made a bad decision, personally. Uh, just doesn't make sense to me putting, because like obviously when someone has the ball last and they're going for the win or trying to tie, they gotta there it's 4 down territory anyway. So putting 4 downs in Mahomes' hand is kind of not a good idea in my eyes, because I mean the amount of times he goes 3 and out, it's slim, but the amount of times he goes 4 and out is also slim. So doesn't make much sense to me, but I can see the other side for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think you kind of touched on that pretty well. I think we'll all, as a society, realize as football fans that it's going to be a mistake to give Mahomes the ball last. Kind of like when Brady had the ball last. It's like you never want him to touch that football last because you just know what's going to happen. He's going to pick apart your defense slowly but surely and methodically, and there's nothing you're going to be able to do to stop it. And obviously, San Francisco kind of witnessed that firsthand in the Super Bowl in overtime, where this is where I will defend the decision by the 49ers to decide to take the ball first. We saw what Patrick Mahomes was able to do in that fourth quarter against that San Francisco defense. They were starting to run out of fumes. And you looked at that final drive in regulation when Kansas City just started moving the ball down the field. You could just tell that San Francisco's defense didn't have the juice that they had throughout the first three quarters. Andy Reid and Mahomes started figuring them out a little bit, but they were also just tired. And I really think that like they took possession of the ball. I know Kyle Shanahan came out and said because of the whole sudden death thing, if they were to get the ball again, that the other team wouldn't touch it. But I think that it was one of those things where their defense was just so winded that they needed it's Super Bowl is a different game than just a regular season football game. Like these guys, you can only do so much conditioning and it's still gonna wear you down. Um, and you look at what happened with San Fran's defense down the stretch, and I think they just wanted to give their defense some rest. And ultimately, their offense did a good job. I just think that maybe down the stretch of that game, the thing I would have done differently was instead of settling for the field goal, because you know Mahomes is going to get the ball back and march his team down the field, is maybe go for the kill shot, get a touchdown, and then Kansas City needs 7 points just to tie it. So I think that's probably what I would have done differently. But I can see both sides of it for sure. You don't want to give the ball in Mahomes last, but at the same time, their defense, they were just in a bad spot down the stretch of regulation as well.
Yeah.
Mhm. My thoughts on the game were before I touch on yours. I was kind of thinking that Brock Purdy played a pretty solid game. I'd say through 3.5 quarters, he was probably the better quarterback. In the earlier years, and he wasn't the whole game, is because Patty Mahomes had the game time drive and game one winning in overtime. But he played well. I don't think Brock Purdy had an interception, did he? I don't think he did.
No.
And then people will say like he threw some bad throws, but that's because his O line was. They must not have known what the blitz was coming. Because if you guys saw like that last play when Jennings was wide open, and same with Ayuk, their left guard or left tackle was just lost. He didn't know where to go. So I think Brock Purdy played a really good game. He definitely quieted down the system quarterback talks. But I was like, when you were saying like, don't give Patty Mahomes the ball back, I feel like in San Francisco's situation when they took the ball, they they definitely needed to take as much clock off as possible. You know what I mean?
Right.
Unless you did score a touchdown, but once you like kind of figured you weren't going to really score a touchdown, you needed to take as much time as off as possible, because then that just because like Ethan said, they couldn't score until they got the muff punt. So that I feel like that they should have done that a little better. But what kind of confused me was how all the players didn't know the overtime rules. Because like, I mean, they showed it on TV, they showed it on the board, the jumbotron. So I don't know how, because McCall Hardman didn't know he won the game when he caught the touchdown.
Yeah, and I think we were just me and my friends were discussing it too. We were like, wait, do they spend the time out here? Should they? Do they get to continue the drive? Because your mind, because of the new rules in the NFL for overtime in the playoffs, it's kind of like the college rule, except the difference is there still is a clock. In college, there is no clock, so it is based on possessions. I do think that if the clock runs out, that's it. So it is kind of wild to me that like we could have had a Super Bowl end in like the most shocking way possible. Um, but I think that, you look at San Francisco, people are going to, criticize Shanahan again because he couldn't get it done. And to me, I look at a guy like Kyle Shanahan and I think of, again, he's an elite head coach. I think if he was if he were a free agent head coach, if I was a fan of a certain team and I needed a head coach, I would hire him tomorrow because I think he really is that skilled and talented as an offensive mind that there is in the sport. And I think that, I mean, they finally started to commit to the run in overtime, and it was working really for the most part. But I mean, he can't beat Andy Reid. I mean, so what? Andy Reid couldn't beat Bill Belichick, and it was like when Kyle Shanahan was the OC with the Falcons, he also couldn't beat Bill Belichick, which I think are the two best coaches in football. Sorry, Don Shula. I like Bill Belichick and Andy Reid as the two best. And I think that just because Kyle Shanahan couldn't beat those guys, I mean, I think that he'll have his time. Like Andy Reid finally now has his time. So I think if anything, Kyle Shanahan's almost the new Andy Reid in a way, where he just hasn't won a Super Bowl, but he's done everything else up to this point. He's young. He's going to have more chances to get back there. And I think that he's, again, one of the best coaches in football, despite all the heat. Now, to touch on the thing that, about Brock Purdy, he played well. He played a good game. I think the thing that we would have liked to see improvement on was just the third down conversion rate. He was about 3 of 12 on third down. And in the Super Bowl, that's just not going to get it done. There was a 3rd and 5 at the end of regulation where if San Fran converted that 3rd and 5, they could have just bled the clock and picked the game-winning field goal, and that's that. So those are the type of plays that you got to make, and those are the type of plays that guys like Mahomes do make, and that's what separates the good quarterbacks like a Brock Purdy from maybe the all-time ones like Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. Yeah, well, back to your Kyle Shanahan thought, like, normally, like the team wins or loses, but like Kansas City just got lucky in that game. You know what I mean? Because like that muff punt, like if you watch that hit like the inside of the guy, it wasn't even the punt returner.
Yeah,
it was a guy running back the block. It hit like the inside of his foot on the fly. So I mean, I don't really think the only like bad thing Kyle Shanahan I think did was you could argue was take the ball first.
Right, and I think that, and again, bounces like that happen in the biggest stage where you see, obviously, you get the blocked extra point, you get the muffed punt return, but it's part of what makes the game so spectacular. You have these unpredictable things, and that's why I usually in a Super Bowl when I try to predict scores, I usually don't come away with like a routine score like a 21-17 or a 28-24, just because I understand that things happen, like an extra point getting blocked, things like that happen. It's just crazy, because there's so many jitters coming into the game. The first quarter, everyone's kind of settling in, so the fact that it was that low scoring in the first quarter, that didn't really surprise me all that much. When the Patriots went on their dynasty, I think they went like 6 or 7 or 8 Super Bowls, or Brady went like 6 or 7 or 8 Super Bowls before he threw his first quarter Super Bowl touchdown. Like it was like this absurd stretch. So the game's crazy. It's so blown up that like it's just a different game than what you see in the regular season.
Yeah, it is for sure. All right, so we'll move it on to guessing the team. First team, just gonna read it off so Spotify listeners can hear. Whoever has this, which one of you three has it, you guys can start guessing. Quarterback, Fresno State. Running back, Tennessee. Wide receiver, OSU. Wide receiver 2, Weber State. Tight end, Oregon. Left tackle, Stanford. Left guard, North Carolina. Center, Texas A&M. Right guard, Michigan. Right tackle, Kentucky. Who's got this one? You want me to do this, boys?
Yeah, not me.
Okay, I can do this. All right, so as a Buckeye fan, I narrowed it down to cut. Like, I think the number is that the wide receiver 1 or 2? It's a 1.
I can tell you which one it is. I know which one this team is.
I know who it is, but I'm gonna give you my explanation. So as a Buckeye fan, we've only got 3 teams. 3 teams that have 2 teams that have wide receiver 1s. Okay, the Jets and the Seahawks. And
no.
It's neither of those. I know what team this is, and
it's got to be the Seahawks.
It's not, dude.
You know who it is? You know who it is?
Okay, hold on.
Wait. Hold on,
let me look. No. Fresno State.
It's Chris Olave.
Chris
Olave.
Okay. I was gonna say I thought we had a 3rd wide receiver in there. Okay, so yeah, it's the Saints. All right, Saints it is. That is correct. All right. I was gonna say I didn't think Kenneth Walker went to Tennessee, but
yeah, the reason why I knew this is because Fresno State's Derek Carr, Tennessee's Kamara, and the reason why I knew Tennessee was Kamara is because that was like the one year that Florida had beat Tennessee like 11 years in a row, and Tennessee came into town and they beat us, and I'll never forget Alvin Kamara coming in as a backup to Jalen Hurd, and I was like, he just torched us, and it was Josh Dobbs. It was like to this day I'll always remember that Alvin Kamara played at Tennessee because he torched us that one year. But so that one's the Saints with Olave.
Yeah,
he's
my bad there. That's all right. All right. So moving on to whoever has this one also. So quarterback, Washington State, running back, Wisconsin, wide receiver, USC, wide receiver two, UNC, tight end, SMU, left tackle, Central Michigan, left guard, Notre Dame, center, Alabama, right guard, Penn State, right tackle, Auburn. Who's got
I know
this
this
one?
one. Josh, you want me to get this one?
Go for it. I know the answers to these. I get
Okay,
it.
so I know this one. I'm going solely off of the quarterback here at Washington State because I'm pretty sure there's only one in the NFL, and I think it's Gardner Minshew. So I'm taking. So shoot, what team is he on?
He's in the.
I thought you
he's
had
in the
it. I
AFC
thought you had
South.
it.
I thought you had it. He's in the AFC South.
Wait. Is it the Colts?
It is. It is.
Okay.
And that's
they,
why I thought it
got,
was,
they got Michael Pittman Jr. from USC.
Yep.
I
and
thought
Jonathan
it was a
Taylor.
slight. I thought it was a slight because their true starting quarterback's coming back, the University of Florida guy. But
Some of these ones I have are tricky because some players are hurt and I still have them in the lineup, or I have the backups in. So
yeah.
Oh, you know why I didn't think of Saints?
And
Because
that's
James
why I
Winston was
said
technically.
the backup thing too, because
Mhm.
the reason the what stuck out to me was I knew quarterback. I was like, all right, that's usually where I start, and then I start looking around, and I saw running back was Wisconsin, and I'm like, how many current Wisconsin running backs are there in the league? Monty Ball's out of the league, and I know they've had a ton
Not
of
many.
Melvin Gordon's out of the league. And it was like, okay, Jonathan Taylor. And then I was looking at the O-line for confirmation. Like, it could be the Colts, but I wanted to make sure. And then I saw left guard Notre Dame. Like, that's Quentin Nelson. So I'm like, it's got to be the
Mhm.
Colts.
Yeah. All right. So moving on. So Josh, this one's for you then. So California QB, running back, Iowa State, wide receiver one, Ohio State, wide receiver two, Georgia Southern, tight end, Central Michigan, left tackle, Louisiana, left guard, Duke, center, Wisconsin, right guard, Baylor, and right tackle, Pittsburgh.
Yeah, so quarterback Cal, running back Iowa State. Yeah, their wide receiver one's Ohio State, and their wide receiver two, I think that's Southern Miss, but I think
Oh,
that
yeah, Southern Miss, you're right.
yeah, and I think my answer here is the Jets because you have obviously Aaron Rodgers played Cal, Berkeley, and Iowa State running backs Brees Hall, and that
Mhm.
was the one that got me because it was like when I saw running back Iowa State again. I don't know too many of those. I don't know too many running backs out of Iowa State. I know Brees Hall came from there, and obviously the wide receiver from Ohio State over there is Garrett Wilson. So that one's the
Is there wide receiver two Alan Lazard or?
I think that's who it is, yeah.
honestly it beats me whoever the wide like I know it's I have to do some research.
I didn't know that one.
All right, so let's move on to
Those are
yeah,
tough.
it is. They were tough ones. I was hoping I would get you guys with the backup QBs, but obviously that didn't work.
Hey, you know why it threw me off with the Saints? Because I was thinking Jameis Winston.
Florida State, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, well, it's not the Saints.
Yeah, it was yeah, that one was tough too, for sure. I mean, no, I like that game. That's a good exercise too, because it's like there's so many of those positions that you listed that I would not have known. Like I would not.
I
have
never
known.
based it off the O line.
Like if unless it's like a well-known offensive lineman that I know, I'm not gonna do too.
Yeah. All right, so to round out the podcast, we'll do an outrageous debate. Josh, I know you have a lot of comments on these. So for this one, we can always change it, but I picked out talking about do you guys consider the glass half full or half empty?
I'll start.
Okay.
I'll start. So I think this depends. I think it depends, but I'm gonna go with half full. Okay. So here's my thought process behind it. So here's why I say it's two ways. It depends what's happening to the glass. If you're filling it up, it's half full. But if you're drinking it, it's half empty. So
you're split 50-50.
Yeah, but I'm gonna lean towards it's half full.
But with that logic, though, if you're filling it up, wouldn't it be half empty? And if you're drinking,
No, because
you're trying to get to full. You're trying to get it to be full.
Okay. I'll see you on that one. Yeah, that's
because think about it. See this water bottle? See how it's only got a little bit?
Yeah.
You're gonna say it's almost empty.
Yeah.
I would agree. I think it's half empty.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good point
But
there.
if I filled it up, you say it's almost full.
Right. I think I looked at it from like a perspective of you're filling it up, so there's still like what you have left. So it's like we're still
Hmm.
like it's still empty by like this much. But like yeah, if you look at it from like if you're just looking at something and you're not acting on it, like if it's above how obviously halfway, then it's like almost full, and if it's under, then yeah, it's almost empty. I would say just by looking at something.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it depends on how you look at it, of course, but like subconsciously when I'm talking about like the state of the water, I'm thinking it's empty because like I don't like if it's below if it's below half point and like say I'm at a restaurant like oh yeah I'm almost out or like it's almost empty and like I don't know I just don't think of it as full. The thing for me is it's like interchangeable. It's like it depends what you're talking about because like someone asks, "Hey, you want a glass of milk?" And you're like, "Yeah, I could just do it halfway." You're gonna say half full, not pour it half empty. You know what I mean? But then if they're yeah, like, but you said how you think about it based off if you fill in it or you're emptying it. Like, yeah, it depends. It depends because it's so yeah, I know. You're like, give me half full. You're not gonna say give me half empty. And then once you're and then listen, and then once you're done, like say you drink it, say you have a full glass and you drink it, okay, drink half of it and you say, "Can you refill me? I'm half empty." That's true, but because it's interchangeable. I just every time I refer to how full or empty my water is, I feel like I'm always saying it's something empty. You know? Yeah, I think you're not saying it's 3/4 empty. Well, nobody asked me how my water is when it's 3/4 full.
And it's wet, by the way. Water is definitely.
That's for another time, Josh.
Oh man, that's good stuff. And then
Well, yeah, that's
I know you guys did the whole straw thing. If there's one or two holes, just so everybody here is aware, that's not they're not called holes. Like, that's not how that.
They are, bro.
Like a hole is like something you dig like in the sand or something you see like in the ground or whatever.
So, what do you call this? What do you call this? This area, that's a hole.
It's an opening.
So what do you call something? What about when you drill into a wood?
Like, straws have ends. They do not have holes.
No, they don't. They have holes in the ends.
So Josh, I got a question for you. What do you say when you're like drilling into wood? Is it a hole or it's an opening?
But you're not drilling it. You're not drilling into a straw. Like
I'm not saying you are, but I'm just saying it's just like a straw where it's like it's hollow.
It is hollow, but it's like a tube. Like we're like if think of a PVC pipe, right? Like it's long and you cut off two sides. So like there's
holes.
There's two openings in the straw.
I agree. There's two holes.
It's one big hole. It's one big hole.
It's not.
It's a hole. It's one big hole.
Just
wait, it is one big hole. Two openings, one hole. Two openings. Let's do another one. Let's do another one. So, Josh, you might have a big bias on this, but is pineapple a good pizza topping? Like, is that acceptable?
I love this topic because there's two things that I think people put on pizza that I'm just adamantly against. I'm more adamantly against people that put ranch on their pizza because what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? Pineapple, I'm not as fired up against. My take on pineapple on pizza is it's just a waste of a good pineapple. Like, pineapple is a fruit that's so much better cold. Like, why would you want a warm pineapple? Why would you ever want a warm up pineapple? And I think that most fruit is better cold than warm.
Agree.
I think maybe an apple is probably the one thing, like if you like made an apple pie and it's like warm, like that's probably like the one fruit that does better warm than cold. But I think fruit's always better cold. I think almost always better cold.
I agree. I don't agree with Josh.
Especially ranch. Ranch is a no-go.
It's terrible.
This isn't a vegetable. This isn't a carrot. But definitely pineapple. I feel like it's just weird because like you just have like all like you think of when you think of pizza, you think of meat. You know what I mean? Think of meat and sauce, and cheese. So like just to add. What about the bread? Okay, you think about the bread too, but you know what I mean. But you don't really think like just think about it. Having bread with pineapple, isn't that a little weird?
Yeah, no, I actually had this conversation with some of my friends. I started thinking about this. When would you ever have like fruit? And I'm a fruit lover. I'll eat fruit every day if I can. I love it so much. But when I think about it, when do I ever eat fruit with something else? Like I'm
Exactly.
never eating like a grape with a hamburger, or I'm not eating a watermelon with a steak. Like I'm not doing that. Like I don't know who's
Mhm.
doing that. So I feel like when I eat fruit, I'm always eating fruit by itself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd say
I don't think any of that belongs on pizza.
I'd say maybe to spice things up a little bit. I'd say it's acceptable. Like I wouldn't be like, what are you doing? But
Right.
like I wouldn't be like, yeah, I want pineapple on my pizza.
It depends where you're getting pizza from, to me. Like where it's like
Yeah.
if it's a good pizza, you don't need as many toppings. Like you just need cheese and pepperoni, I feel like.
Hmm.
You get people who do the meat lover thing, I understand that. But like I think the more toppings you're putting on a pizza, it's to overcompensate for how mid the pizza is. Like I
Yeah,
think
for real.
up here in the Northeast, there's just phenomenal pizza. Like I can just get cheese or maybe some pepperoni if I'm feeling like pepperoni. But like outside of that, I don't feel like pizza needs a whole lot more than it already has.
Hmm.
I feel like it's too much once you add on to the pepperoni. Cheese and pepperoni, I feel like that's pretty much it.
It's all you need. It's all you really need, to be honest. Like I've had other toppings. I've had other toppings on pizza before, and it tastes fine. But I feel like it's always better with like less is more to me when it comes to pizza. I feel like,
Hmm.
especially if the pizza is done right.
Yeah. All right. Well, is that all from us, guys? You want to talk about anything else? No,
And then unless you have another outrageous debate,
I'm good.
What was the other one? What was the other one that you guys did? There was another one that I know you guys.
what is water wet?
Remember
No,
that?
no. Oh, the toilet paper.
And then you guys did your top 5 drinks or whatever. That was kind of neat.
Yeah. We have more in the arc in the like
Archive.
behind the scenes that we're waiting to pull up front. You know.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yep. So yeah, that's all for us, guys. Thanks for tuning in again. Make sure to go follow and or subscribe to Josh's YouTube. Once again, a picture will be on the screen. He has great content and very helpful for today's video. So we appreciate it, Josh.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Josh.
Yep.
Thanks for having me on. I'd love to be back whenever you guys want me. So it was a blast.
Thanks for coming. And of course, guys, make sure to follow Anything Flies on Instagram, Spotify, and YouTube. See you next time, guys.
Peace.